When travelling by high-speed rail in South Korea, you'll more than likely be travelling with Korail's flagship KTX brand. But what if I told you there was a private high-speed rail operator in South Korea? Well, sort of. Introducing the Super Rapid Train, or SRT, currently South Korea's fastest train service, which I'll be putting to the test in this video from Seoul's Gangnam district to Mokpo at the southwestern tip of the country's rail network. Now join me as the journey continues. Now we won't be using Seoul's main station today. Instead, we have to take the metro from the centre to reach our SRT service, which, give or take a few line changes, currently takes a total of 50 minutes. But more on this later. SRT services in and out of Seoul use Suseo station in the southeast of the city, made specifically to serve Seoul's affluent Gangnam district, which most of you watching this will know of for other reasons. Suseo station has been here in some form or another since 1993, serving the Seoul Metro's Line 3, though the SRT station here has been operational since 9th of December 2016 as the northern terminus of the Suseo-Pyeongtaek high-speed railway. The inside of the station reminds me of an arena or stadium entrance, but still it looks pretty sleek and modern. SRT is the only long-distance operator here, as shown by the projection lights of the trains themselves, as well as the route map showing their destinations. Tickets can be purchased or collected from both the manned kiosks or automatic ticket machines, though SRT principally operates online. Being an open access operator, SRT offers ticket prices which are roughly 5% cheaper than Korail's KTX, and whilst foreign credit cards have only been recently accepted on their website, it's still not possible to purchase a ticket through the app if you're not Korean, so something to bear in mind. You can also find a printed timetable which shows the timings for SRT's main routes to Busan and Mokpo from Suseo, where the frequencies and riderships are more established. All around the station as well are plenty of shops and eateries which I do recommend checking out, as the catering situation on all of South Korea's high-speed rail is rather limited. There's even a small vending machine kiosk on the platform level too. I personally recommend the American trailer stand here. The banana and strawberry smoothie was incredible. The station is well equipped to handle the passenger traffic it receives. SRT recorded a ridership of 6.43 million in Q1 of 2024, which is impressive considering its limited operations compared to the KTX. On that note, we'll be catching the 0939 service today, which is terminating at Mokpo at the southwestern end of the Korail network. SRT, or Super Rapid Train, began operations in December 2016 as South Korea's first private high-speed rail operator. Well, sort of. The service is run by SR Corporation, which is a joint venture of the South Korean government and Korail, South Korea's national rail operator, who also runs the KTX service. SRT services run on an open access basis, meaning full commercial risk is taken by SR, and they run on specific paths KTX trains don't use. SRT's two main routes are from Suseo to Busan and Mokpo, but have recently expanded to serve other destinations including Yeosu, Jinju and Pohang, though these were on a much more limited basis at the time of filming. Suseo operates from 3 different levels as depicted by this floor plan. There are waiting areas for SRT services both on the upper and lower levels, whilst the lower levels also provide access to the Seoul Metro Line 3 and the recently opened GTX-A, which when fully operational will eventually provide a direct link to Seoul Station in as little as 30 minutes. On that note, let's head down to the platforms. These depict a typical high-speed underground station, though the murals on the wall just by platform 6 are quite interesting to look at if you have time between trains. There's even one of our train today, which is patiently waiting for us on platform 4. The SRT service exclusively uses a fleet of 32 330km/h capable KTX sancheon trains, which were built by Hyundai Rotem in several series between 2009 and 2017 as the first domestically produced high-speed train in South Korea, with the design of these trains being based on transferred French TGV technology, allowing Rotem to develop the HSR 350X prototype, from which the sancheon was developed as a commercial model formed of 2 power cars and 8 articulated passenger coaches. SRT operates 22 of the second series, numbered in the 200s, but built between 2013 and 2014, which are leased from KoRail and previously ran on KTX services, whilst the remaining 10 are the newer third series from 2016, numbered in the 300s and built specifically for SRT. One can be seen now arriving from Busan. The advantage of the Sancheon over the KTX-1 is their increased flexibility, as two sets can couple and uncouple as and when necessary to reflect passenger demand. Here, an SRT Sancheon is seen uncoupling to continue to Yaosu, whilst the rear set continues towards Gwangju, once the coupling cover closes of course. From 2027, SRT will also be operating 14 EMU 320 or Chongyong units to expand its services, the newest generation of South Korean high-speed train which I've already reviewed on the channel before. For today's journey down to Mokpo, we'll be travelling in first class, which is in coach 3 on SRT's Sancheon trains. Like with the KTX Eum and Chongyong, there is a retractable step before the door, so station staff need to provide lifts if you need assistance when boarding. Like the KTX-1, first class on the Sancheon is in the 2x1 layout, though this has airline seats only. Seats can also be rotated like this, meaning they'll always face the direction of travel by default. The route out of Suseo sees us underground for the first portion of the journey, as we work our way towards joining the main Gyeongbu high-speed line. At Osong, we then move on to the Honam high-speed line along its entirety, making major calls at Iksan and Gwangju, before arriving into Mokpo at around 12 PM, taking around 2 hours and 20 minutes to cover the 332km distance. We leave Seoul's Suseo station on time at 09:39 Korean Standard Time. Immediately after leaving Suseo, we enter the Yuhen Tunnel, which forms the majority of the Suseo-Pyeongtaek high-speed railway that was specifically built for this line. The line itself is a total of 61.1 kilometers long, with the tunnel comprising 82% of the line with a total distance of 50.3 kilometers, making it the fourth longest railway tunnel in the world after the Channel, Seikan and Gotthard-based tunnels respectively. The tunnel consists of a double-track tube and took over 5 years to complete using the new Austrian tunnel method at a cost of $90 million, with a design speed of 300 km per hour, but there is an average cruising speed of around 240 km per hour, owing to most trains, including ours today, making a stop at Dongtan station around 32.6 km after leaving Suseo. Just before arriving there though, the onboard attendant gives a snack box to first class passengers, though the snack box only contained nuts and includes a free bottle of water, which isn't too bad. This also included a wet tissue which is packaged showing SRT's first ever service. Dongtan is Korea's first underground high-speed railway station and also provides transfers to the GTX-A and bus terminals, all providing links to a growing economic centre in the south of Seoul. The station here uses platform screen doors similar to what you'd find on London's Elizabeth line for example, though as you can see it's not timed well with the door closures. A further 17.7 kilometers later and we exit the Yuhen Tunnel, calling at Pyeongtaek-Jeje shortly afterwards. There is also an interchange here with the Seoul Metro Line 1, providing further connections to areas within the Seoul metropolitan area not served by high-speed trains. Leaving the station, we now join the main Gyeongbu high-speed line used by KoRail's KTX trains. This is the first high-speed line to have been built in South Korea, with the initial section having first opened in April 2004, with the infrastructure being based on that used in France as part of the technology transfer agreement. The maximum service speed of the line is currently 305 km per hour, though we're currently at a cruising speed of 230 km per hour owing to stopping at both intermediate stops on this section. It's also worth noting that track upgrade works will be done in the coming years to allow 320km/h speeds where possible. Now let's focus on the interior of our SRT Sancheon train. I do think the seat in first class is brilliant. The padding is great, particularly at the base, and also features a slightly winged headrest with an adjustable cushion too for enhanced comfort. Foldable armrests are located on both sides of the seat, the R side containing the buttons to operate the automatic recline if you want to kick back and relax, whilst the right side contains the headphone ports and volume controls to listen to the onboard entertainment just above, though at this stage it's just showing monkeys demonstrating safety procedures. Power sockets can be found just below the back of the seat in front, though this doesn't impact the legroom much as you can see, which is very generous, though regular viewers will know I'm not really a fan of the footrest, especially the ones at the seats closest to the vestibules, which are especially cramped. You'll also find tray tables here which are similar to the KTX-1 at the front, whilst the regular seating areas are fold downs at the back of each seat elsewhere, including a seat map which I'll come back to later. At the seat pockets, not only can you store items such as small bags, but you can also enjoy some light reading with the SRT magazine, provided you can understand Korean of course. Retractable coat hooks are found just next to the windows, though in my opinion these are poorly located as you can see. Reading lights are located just below the overhead luggage racks, which can be used for storing bags and small suitcases, with larger ones located in the vestibules. Finally, you'll find a draw-down blind which more often than not will be raised down, especially if you're fighting with other passengers to pull it up and enjoy the scenery. Overall, the interior of SRT Sancheon is brilliant and a nice improvement from the original KTX design, a really nice and comfortable way to travel. On the Gyeongbu High Speed Line, SRT services towards Mokpo can make 2 intermediate stops, of which we'll be doing both today. The first of these is Cheonan Asan, located primarily in the city of Asan and even has links to the conventional line Asan station just below. Just before the final stop of the line of Osong, the HEMU 430X prototype used to develop the KTX-UM and Cheonggyeong trains can be seen, and made South Korea one of 4 countries in the world to develop a high-speed train capable of an impressive 420km/h. Whilst the stop at Osong is brief, this is a key station on our route today, as it's here where we exit the Gyeongbu High Speed Line and transfer over to the newer Honam line, with the first section to Gwangju opening in April 2015. We do so crossing over the 37.5km long Miho River, which is a tributary of the Gyeom River in the North Jeolla province, which the Honam line travels through. Unlike the Gyeongbu line, which was built with assistance from the French, the Honam line was the first to have been built using domestic Korean technology, and as with the former, the latter has a top service speed of 305km/h, which we're finally reaching close to. Soon enough, we exit the high-speed line and make a stop at Iksan Station, which acts as a hub not only for Honam high-speed railway services, but also for services along the Jeolla line to Yaosu Expo and the conventional Honam line. Formerly known as Erie before the merger with the Iksan County in 1995, Iksan is often known as the City of Jewellery, and is home to the Iksan Jewellery Museum, which opened in 2002. Now for a look at standard class on the SRT Sancheon, which is in a 2x2 configuration featuring airline seats only, but if you're in a group, these can also be rotated to make bay seating should you wish. Coach 1 is where you'll find the spacious wheelchair accessible area, as well as the wheelchair accessible toilet which accompanies it. To be honest, I never really had too many issues with the toilet cleanliness on Korean high-speed rail, and this SRT one is no exception. 2 coat hooks are also present inside, along with electrical shaver sockets and a baby changing facility. As for the standard toilets, these can be found throughout the train and are gender segregated, as is common practice across South Korea's rail system. There is also a dedicated baby changing facility in the event that the accessible toilet is unavailable. Like Korail, SRT has vestibule or standing seats for when the train is full, though I'm not actually sure if standing seats are sold as there's nothing online. If you know more, please let me know below. There are also vending machines in some of the vestibules, essentially selling the main form of catering on board. These accept both card and cash payments, and I just went for a quick snack. Another thing I should note is that the ride quality of the sancheon sets are excellent, mainly owing to the articulated bogie design as well as the use of power cars, which also aids noise reduction. We then reach the end of the current operational portion of the Honam high-speed line, and as we do, we can see one of Korail's sidings to the left, including an SRT train on standby. This is because a fair amount of SRT services on the Honam line terminate at our next stop of Gwangju, with some trains, including ours, continuing to the end of the line at Mokpo in around half an hour. Gwangju is known for the Gwangju Uprising, a mass protest against the South Korean military government that took place for 2 weeks in May 1980, with nearly 250,000 people participating in the rebellion. 10 minutes later, we arrive into our final stop of Naju, which is the home stretch towards Mokpo. The upgraded classic line we traverse sees us travel close to 230 km per hour, though the closer we get to Mokpo, the more our speed decreases, reaching a decline to 150 km per hour. It's worth noting, however, that there are ongoing efforts to extend the Honam high-speed line the full route to Mokpo, as seen by the ongoing construction of viaducts and tunnels here, which should be completed within the next few years. To conclude, I was very pleased with the SRT service. The staff were great, the trains were clean and comfortable, and as the name says, it's super rapid. I highly recommend this if you're travelling in South Korea, and with their upcoming route expansions and new train introductions in the next few years, I'm very optimistic about SRT's future. For this trip, I paid a one-way fare of 66,700 Korean won, which is around £38. The KTX cost of this journey is 74,300 Korean won, or £42 in first class, though the latter is a city centre to city centre journey, whilst SRT is not, so something to bear in mind when making an effective cost comparison from Seoul. Another thing to note is that as with Korail services, SRT prices are fixed and don't vary according to demand, so there are no savings made with early bookings for this train and others in South Korea. Well, believe it or not, this was the only Korean train I took which arrived either early or on time into its destination, as we pull into Mokpo 1 minute early at 12:08 PM. Now you've heard from me, I want to hear from you. Have you travelled with SRT before? Do you prefer them or KTX when travelling across South Korea? Let me know in the comments. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and don't forget to like and share it if you did to aid the channel's growth, as well as subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for more content such as this weekly. Speaking of which, I'll have a video out soon on my return journey to Seoul with SRT's competitor, KTX. But in the meantime, thanks so much for coming with me on this trip, and I look forward to bringing you with me on my next one.